I'm going to show you guys why you shouldn't chew gum at the poker table.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so in this hand, there's a raise from the button. Small blind calls, king queen suited, and Chewy completes in the big blind with ace 5 suited. I'm going to call him Chewy because he's getting exposed here for his chewing skills. Flop, he pretty much flops the nuts. There is nothing that can beat him at this stage. And standard check, checks around. Now on the turn is where it starts focusing. King Queen obviously going to lead out here because, you know, in theory you have the best hand here most of the time. Now I want you to look really carefully on Chewy's expressions here. The very, very slow paced chewing of the gum. Relaxed, very slow, lots of vertical motions, almost like he's playing with his chewing gum. Also notice here how he flicks out the chips. Very, very relaxed. Like this is a clear tell. 100%. Very relaxed. Now he's literally holding his head in his hand. This is not through boredom. This is not through I don't have a hand, you know. He is very, very strong. Now on the river, King of Kings. Now he's completely separate. We're not focusing on his tells, but as you can see, he has some tells rubbing of the nose there, but I believe that someone that calls themselves King of Kings probably knows a thing or two about fake tells. So this stroking of the nose here is not a sign of weakness. This is like a fake tell to look like maybe he's bluffing, you know. So King of Kings going for an overbet on the river. Again, trying to make it look like a bluff. And setting up, you know, like a call from a straight on this board, or some smaller flushes, you know. That's what he's gone for here. And now I want you to, once he's made this overbet pot, very polarizing bet. Once he's made this bet, I want you to just watch how Chewy reacts to this. Very calm. Watch the chewing of the gum, the motion of the chewing, and then tilting of the head, etc. Then he proceeds to go all in. This is, if you're just watching your opponent how they act and you see this, there is absolutely no chance that this is a bluff. This is a man that is holding what he believes is the nuts, you know. Now again, I'm not saying that King Queen is an easy fold here, but you've got to be taking note of these particular actions on players like this. Alright, so let's find out what Chewy does with his newfound chips from the previous hand. He opens Queen 6 of clubs from the cutoff, and as you can see from the GTO chart, it's perfectly standard, perfectly normal. Sometimes I like to actually fold this kind of hand if I'm not confident on the table post-flop. It folds around to the small blind, who calls with pocket nines. Now, GTO suggests raising this most of the time, but a call is fine. The problem with a call is you basically turn your cards face up. Everyone calls here with pairs, suited connectors, king jack, king queen suited. They're not too sure what to do. They're a little bit scared to raise. Now on the flop, tail wise, it's not so bad. The chewing is slightly stiffer, smaller motions, but overall it's if I was playing against this opponent, I wouldn't pick up anything from this flop action. Slightly different in the way that he is positioning his head and slightly stiffer movements in the jaw, but nothing overall that's going to make me play different on this particular street. So pocket nines is probably a standard call here given the action. So it's perfectly fine to call. I would probably go a little bit bigger with the bet sizing, but half pot is pretty nice on this given texture. Now let's see how Chewy acts on the turn after his bet has been called. Now everything has come here. If the guy had 6-5 suited, something like this, he's now got trips. The flush has come. Just overall, this hand is getting a lot worse. But Chewy is going to decide to bluff it. Now I want you to look at the way he's chewing in this hand as opposed to the last hand we watched when he flopped the nuts. It's more stiffer, the movements are smaller, and when he puts out his bet, you'll notice that it's not relaxed like it was the first time, it's more stiff, almost like he's scared to put these chips out in the middle. So watch for that. So this for me right here is um, what lost him the hand, honestly. The stiffness in how he's trying to rest his head, um, in addition to the way that he was chewing before, tells me that he is not interested in this hand whatsoever, and he is not strong. So the question is, now that you've got this information, you're holding pocket nines, you now know how this man is in the hand. What would your action be on this particular turn right now? Would you raise to protect your pocket nines? Would you just call and let him potentially bluff on the river? Now, the problem with that second action is if he has something like ace queen with no hearts, or even ace queen with the ace or the queen of hearts, he still has outs to get there on the river. Surprisingly, quite a bit of outs, you know? So, once you've got the information, you have to decide as a player how best to utilize that information. But for me personally, once I've seen this, I would go ahead and raise with the pocket nines for protection. And also, I don't want to show down my pocket nines. I don't want him to see that I can call two streets with pocket nines, second pair, and no potential for a flush draw or anything like that. I don't want to give him that free information. So for me, I would raise on the turn to get him out of this pot. And when the river comes, it doesn't bring the flush. Now we check it over to him, of course, stay in flow. But the thing now is, if he has ace 10 specifically, he's going to check this back. He's not going to try and turn that into a bluff or get any more value from ace 10 because there's nothing more to get from it. So the majority of players now are going to bluff, or if they have a flush, if he has ace queen of flush, we have to think, does he play it like this? And given the tells that we've picked up, no, he doesn't have ace queen of hearts, because we already know, because we've watched for tells. So we know he's not strong. So if he does actually go all in, he not representing anything. So pocket nines in this particular case would be a call, unfortunately. And if he somehow got the best of us through live tells, congratulations to him. But we've already determined that he's not strong, and as you can see from the way he's acting now on the turn, stroking his chips, stroking his chin and face, everything's getting stroked. He doesn't have anything. He's pretending that he's thinking of bluffing, but deep down he knows he's checking and giving up. There is one possible hand that he could have, and that is pocket tens for a full house. And if he started acting different on the river, like how he acted with the ace high flush in the first hand, of course, then you would have to consider, did he just get there with pocket tens? Because his whole demeanour has now changed, you know? So that is the only thing I would look out for. But as you can see from watching him on the river, this is telling me he has no strength in his hand whatsoever. So if he ends up going all in, I am snap calling with pocket nines. And thank you for your chips.
Subscribe and let's expose these bluffers together.